Hey guys, it's Bruce. Yuri is out of town right now on business, but I wanted to do a quick one. I just had some stuff on my mind. I want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. I want to just talk frankly about the challenge of being a black man married to a Filipina. All right, so what is the challenge for me? And then once I have time, I will talk about this stuff that you see over here and answer questions. But the main topic is challenge of being with a Filipina as a black dude. And and I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for all black people or all Americans or nothing like that. I just want to give you guys some kind of context from my perspective. So one of my biggest challenges has been family. So it's just a different culture, you know. It's just realizing how close Filipinos are with their family made me realize the difference between my own, how I was brought up to where you're kind of on your own, especially in my family. You know, my family's probably much different than other people's family. It's every person for themselves in my family. There's no, there's some help sometimes, but for the most part, it's every person for themselves. And that's kind of how I've lived my life. Like, my sisters have sought help from my mom often in their life, but me, I very rarely have. But my mom, she's helped me out when need be or whatever. And sometimes, I'll ask for advice. I used to for my sisters or whatever. But that was about it. It wasn't like not a lot of. It's every person for themselves. And maybe that speaks more to American culture than my own personal family. But Yuri is kind of obligated to help her family. And she's kind of an exception to the rule because she budgets how much she does help them, but it is constant though. Like, it's a regular occurrence. And the challenge is, culturally, I realize there's a big difference between, I understand that's not to say that I don't agree with it or that I'm not okay with it or anything. As I've talked about on this channel before, I'm personally okay with it, but I know a lot of Americans are not. But it has been a challenge because I have to understand, like, how much, and I don't know if it's just Filipinas. Like, if you're a Filipino watching this, like, maybe you could educate me. Is it just the Filipina that's supposed to take care of the family, or is it like every kid in the family is supposed to reach back and take care of whoever? And it's just a challenge to understand, like, how much responsibility that they have, to reach back and take care of their family. And I know that, like, some Americans will reach out to me and say, yo, bro, you're being played. Like, I bet she won't do that if she was with a Filipino guy. I bet she wouldn't do that if this or that. No, that's not true. Because, I've traveled to 15 different countries, and every country where I've talked to Filipinos from the Philippines, right? Not just Filipino Americans, but from the Philippines, they kind of say the same story, that they're sending half their check back home. Like, I remember in Kuwait, a friend of mine, she was working there, and she was sending like 60% of her check back home or more to help her kid get through college. But she had been in Kuwait for like 15 years or something like that. And that was the same with all the other Filipinos that I talked to there, from dudes who worked in the gas station to working in people who worked in, not the gas station, but like if they worked in retail or if they worked wherever they were working there from the Philippines on a contract or whatever, they were sending like a good portion of their money home. And then it was the same thing when I went to, where else was I? When I was in Guam, same thing. Like, they would work, if they got a contract or whatever, was working in Guam or some part here in America or whatever, they would be sending like a good portion of their check home. So that's been probably the biggest challenge that I've had. Like, in that, it's just a difference of how you treat your family. Like, she's way more invested in caring for her family than I've been brought up to do for mine. But it kind of woke me up to understand, like, yeah, that's cool that you do that. This I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a difference of culture. And so I'd say the other thing there is speaking of culture is just the cultural differences, how she thinks, how she's been brought up to think, and versus how I've been brought up to think. And what I do is I try to learn, from the experience. Like, I'm not trying to, like, no, you got to do it like this, or you can't cook this, or you can't, like, I know some American dudes who do that. Me, I'm like, why would you marry outside of your culture or your race or your nationality if you have a problem with somebody's culture? Like, that's weird to me personally. But, for me, I'm trying to learn, like, what can I learn from her culture? You know what I mean? Because it's helped me to figure out, because if you think about it, we're all cut from the same cloth. We're human beings, and we've been brought up in these different cultures and these different environments, and it's interesting to me to see how other people all over the world live, and it can teach you something about maybe if you saw things a little bit differently, it can teach you something about yourself or something about how you're behaving. And I take it as a learning experience personally. So it's not necessarily hard for me personally. It's just like, that's been like the biggest distance between us, is like the cultural differences. But that, I kind of have a different way of approaching it, of me learning from her culture. And I'm sure it's vice versa. We learn from one another, So I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest and maybe give you guys some kind of another way to see this whole thing, because I know some Americans struggle with it. And by the way, like, all the couples that we have talked to, what's interesting, tell you something else about the differences. The couples that clash the most and the couples that have the most problems, whether it's the American guy complaining or Western guy complaining or the Filipino complaining, usually it's cultural differences. Usually they'll take us aside and be like, man, I don't know why he or she does this or that, but man, this is just getting on my damn nerves. And because they'll confide in us, and it's usually cultural differences between the two cultures, whether it's American Filipino or Filipino and German or whatever the case may be. It's like the differences are culture, but the ones who do really well together are the ones who learn from one another, as a cohesive unit. Those are the ones that do the best, I've noticed, in not only their relationship, but in business and in, it's right down the line. Like, the ones who are clashing because they're not, like, embracing each other's cultural differences are the ones having real problems. The ones who embrace one another's and learn from one another and listen to one another are the ones who do really good. That's just something I noticed. Okay, so let me see here. I got some questions here. I'm not going to make this a super long podcast, but I do want to address some of these questions. Okay, I got a lot of feedback on a video that we released about retiring in the Philippines. And in this video, I just talked about why Yuri and I have decided we more than likely will not retire in the Philippines. And it's not because we don't love the Philippines. It's not because we don't love Filipinos. Of course not. We just personally have there's just certain things. And then the video, if you want to go watch it, it's out there. There's just certain things that we personally, reasons that we personally why we don't want to. We're not going to retire there, but it's not that it's not completely out of the picture, but more than likely we won't. And so I've got a few people commenting here, and I'm just going to read a couple of them. Philippine Paradise Chronicles. This is somebody we've known for like 6 years, by the way. Philippine Paradise Chronicles. You need to check him out if you haven't already. And he's a American guy who recently retired and is living in the Philippines with his wife and his kid. Beautiful couple. Really nice. They were helping us with the K1 visa process, and they were helping us to help other people with the K1 visa process after we helped them, and then they start helping other people on this group that we used to be a part of. And he says, what? Because he's already retired, living his life over there. And Daryl Charity says, Daryl Charity is another guy we've been knowing for a really long time, by the way. Really, really long time. Almost since we started this. He says, hey, Bruce, hey, Yuri, you're right. America doesn't care. I feel that America's biggest enemy is America. There is a lot more hate and racism in this screwed up country than anywhere else, in my opinion. My plan is to retire in the Philippines, which I can do right now if there was no pandemic. At least the Filipino people are way nicer to you. And if you look at events that took place in the last Wednesday, really made me think long and hard about our democracy here is going to hell. Love you, Yuri. You and Yuri so much. Keep grinding. And that's so in the video what I said was I don't fault anybody who does feel this way about the US. Especially if you're a person of color, if you're black, I totally understand like why you'd be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to Southeast Asia. I'm finished. I'm going to Africa. I'm done with this. And I can't say that I haven't felt that same way myself. There's been a couple things that I've seen that have taken place that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go move to Ghana. I'm done. So it's just very emotionally exhausting. But also what I said in the video is that I love America. I love all the good things that America has, and I think that personally, if you go to any country, there's going to be issues. And this is coming from a person who's been to several countries and lived in several countries. Like I lived in I lived in Korea for a year. I lived in Southeast Asia on and off for a couple years. I've lived in the Middle East for months and months at a time. I've been throughout Europe. I've not stayed in Europe more than about a month. But I've been all over Australia. I've been all kinds of places. And what I'll say is there's serious problems in every country, like serious problems in every country, not just in the U.S. It just sometimes, like, especially as Americans, like we have blinders on and we think everything here is either bad or good. And that's just not the case. The problems that we have here are very similar in level. There's not the exact same problems, but the problems that we have here is a human problem, is what I'll say. And just to give you a couple examples, the Philippines has its own problems, and I know like people hate when I talk about this, especially Filipinos. They hate when we talk about the bad things, but there are bad things in the Philippines. One of which is the poverty level. And if you want to compare the U.S.'s poverty to the Philippines, there's no comparison. One of them is overpopulation. Rising sea levels. They have to deal with that on the coastlines. There's real problems there. And but to give you another one would be Thailand, one of my favorite places on planet Earth. Thailand has these military coups and stuff like every few years where the people they still are under a monarchy, so they're dealing with that. And sometimes it can get violent. They've just recently had protests about it. And I guess if you're expat, you don't have to worry about any of that because you're kind of distant. You don't have a dog in the fight one way or the other. So you can kind of like disconnect from all the craziness and everything, but those problems are happening there, and it does affect the laws that do affect expats, by the way. So whenever I'm in a country, I pay attention to the politics. I pay attention to how people, what's the temperature, what's the climate for humans there, and I pick up on some things. So I would say, and what I've learned is that every country has problems. Every country, not just the U.S. If you're thinking that everything in the U.S. is golden, no, it's not. It's absolutely not. If you're thinking everything is bad in the U.S., no, that's not the case. Whatever country you're going to go to, you're going to have to, especially if you're thinking about living there for a long period of time, you're going to deal with the problems that are there. And, they're going to affect you the longer you stay there. And it's a human problem, and there's no escape. We have to fix this stuff. We as human beings, you and I, regardless of your nationality or race or whatever, we humans have to fix this. Like, this is a human problem, and you're not going to escape it by going to this other country. So But yes, I do understand why a person would want to leave, especially if you're black and you're seeing all this stuff happening and just people aren't treated the same here. Yeah, I do get it. But the reason why I'm staying is because I've been doing really good in the U.S. and it's looking really, really good for us here. It's been going really well. And I would not fault anybody for if the struggle's real. I do understand that. But maybe it's when I look here, I'm looking at my local environment. Maybe what I'm doing is I'm kind of like focusing on what things I can change locally, and it's been going good for my family and my kids and my immediate family and everything. We've been able to use everything we can to get ahead here. And I remember, just to bring up another conversation that I had with my daughter. My daughter said the American dream is dead, it's gone. And me and Yuri were like, no, we don't agree with that. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, and I know why. But here's what I'll say is that the dreams that you have, it's not an American dream. Like, you can dream anywhere. Okay. First of all, you shouldn't limit yourself to an American dream. You should dream big wherever you are. And any kind of obstacles that come in your way, be they racist or caste system or financial or whatever problems that happen, those challenges, they're challenges, okay? It's not an impossibility for you to get ahead. We have to find a way creatively to get around it. So I said, Yuri and I agree, like, and I think it's because both of us came from poverty. And we realized, like, it's not going to be easy, no matter where you are, to have your dream come true. You have to work your ass off to make it happen. So I would say, yes, it's harder. The American dream, whatever that means for you, it's harder because the value of the dollar has declined. And it's just harder to survive on minimum. You can't survive on minimum wage here anymore. There was a time in this country when you could, and that has everything to do with the declining value of the dollar, and it's going down faster and faster. So yes, it is harder, but if you dare to dream and work for it, you can still get it. And it doesn't matter if you're in America or in the Philippines or in Thailand or in Malaysia or China or wherever you are. You can have anything that you desire and are willing to work for, you can get it. And so that's why I still am optimistic, even in light of all this craziness that's happening, even in 2020 part 2. I'm very optimistic about where we can go as a species, where humans can go, and where you can go as an individual if you set your mind to it. So that's why I still believe that there is an American dream. My personal 2 cents on the whole thing. And okay, I've got some people watching me. Whoa, I didn't expect this, guys. I got like 15 people watching. I got C510. I've got Gaining One's Definition. Hey, how you doing? I've got Manny Yoshi. Says, what's up, Bruce? I got Julian Brown. How you doing, sir? I got Dale Charity. How you doing? I was just reading about you, sir. Corey Gearhead High. How you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while. And let me see. You got Hi, Bruce. I got talking about it, sir. Yeah, appreciate you, man. Are you still in Colorado? Yes, we are. Julian Brown says, what's up? What's up, bro? Enjoying perspective. I am dating a Filipina now. Oh, yeah. Man, so if you're dating a Filipina, I envy your journey. It was very fun it was very fun, and just enjoy it. And you're in for one thing. I would say, if I could go back and start all over again, is I guess one of the things I kind of did right was focusing on learning the culture. Learn the culture, appreciate it. Learn even some of the language, learn the history of the place. It will give you a better understanding of who these people are. And if you get serious about a relationship with a Filipino person, you'll understand where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? It's just like if you give the time, if somebody is serious about a relationship with a black person and they take the time to understand your struggle, doesn't that make you respect them so much more? Same difference. Understand their struggle as a people. Understand them, and you'll understand the context of why their behaviors come, like why they're so close to their family, why they send stuff back, why they want to help their family, why, what the different kinds of foods that they have, the different kinds of, dances that they have. There's so many beautiful things about the culture that if you invest some time to learn the culture, you'll learn to respect this person that you're dating. You know what I mean? And then they will respect you that much better. So you'll be a king in their eyes because you treat her like a queen, or him like a king if that's the case. Okay, so retired and happy in Medellin. Oh, that's my man right there. That's if you guys didn't know, there's the music. Man, I have not turned that off yet. Retired and happy in Medellin is on another channel. It's my man Markel is over there, retired in Colombia, living his best life. Love you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for all your advice in the past on VA stuff. That stuff is helping me and my whole family to this day. So I just want you to know that you have had an impact on me and my family, and I really appreciate you, man. So thank you for that 10 pesos. 10,000 pesos. Is that what it's called? Pesos there? That's Colombian money right there. Okay. Let me see. I've got just reading through questions. My gaining one's definition says, my wife said all the kids should. Okay, that one's, I don't know what is being said there. It's an awesome concept. Family taking care of each other, right? What an incredible concept. Does Yuri ever try to send more than you agree with? In the beginning, that's a good question. In the beginning, sometimes things would happen to where she would send and then send again and then send, like she would just keep, and I'd be like, wait, hold on. Like, didn't you just send? Like, what's going on here? And she'd tell me like, well, this or that's happening. I'd be like, okay, but like, They gotta know that we have a budget here. So we had a talk. That's what happened. So yes, the answer is yes, she did in the beginning. Now we're cool. Like Yuri and I have an understanding. But in the beginning, yes, because like people in the Philippines, sometimes they don't understand that money don't grow on trees here, and we are struggling. Like the average American person is struggling here. If you're a middle class person, it's kind of getting real, you know what I mean, out in these streets. So, yeah, in the beginning when she first got here, man, I had 50% of my money was going to my ex-wife. Like I had debt. I had like $100,000 to $1,000 in debt. It was a nightmare, man. It was a American nightmare. And so when she would send money, I mean, yeah, I was making a good amount, but 50% of that's gone, because of the alimony or whatever. And then my kids start living with me. So not only am I spending 50% of my income, but my kids are living with me full time, and they're growing fast. So, like it was hard. And so she'd be sending money back. And then I just sat down and said, hey, like, here's our budget. I'm okay with you sending money back regularly, but we have to stay within our means. You know what I mean? Like, this is for us. And then she started feeling it, and that's what happens is once she felt like what is going on here, she started feeling it too. And she's like, okay, we just sent this money, but now we need something. And she started getting real frustrated with herself and with the situation. And she started having conversations with family, friends, or family back in the Philippines and telling them, hey, I can't help you. And here's why. I'm sorry you can't understand that, but we have stuff going on here too. So once I had a conversation with her, we sat down, and then she felt it herself. And then she's realized, hey, we need to have a budget with what we're sending back. And then So then, yeah, that's happened before. We had that conversation. Let me see. Does Yuri? Okay. Damien Asman says, is this live? Is this the live I did not get my notification? Is this live? Yeah, this is live. I don't know why YouTube doesn't send notifications. I wasn't really planning on doing a live, but I'm like, well, I got all these questions and stuff, so I might as well do one. Let me see. What have you guys been up to, and why did you decide not to retire in the Philippines? Good question. So we are doing really good in the U.S. You know, just imagine if you could live your life just as comfortably in the U.S. as you do in the Philippines. That's kind of the situation we're in. We're in a situation where we're living our life as comfortably, or more comfortably actually, than we would if we were in the Philippines. So we've made it to, we've gotten to a situation where we're okay financially, and we have built something over since we created this channel, and if you followed our journey, like you've seen like little tips. We don't share a lot of the financial stuff we do on this channel, but we have another channel called Get Money and Get Out, where we explain like what we've been doing financially and how it's helped us and how we've been able to help other people and all this kind of stuff. And I don't talk about it on this channel because 80% of the people here don't care about that kind of stuff. But if you go to Get Money, Get Out, we talk about nothing but that kind of stuff, whether it's real estate or cryptocurrency or stocks or other kinds of investments and business stuff. Go check it out. And we've been able to build up a life here that's looking pretty good, you know. And the thing is, like, we're so stable here that we can, if we want to, we can go live in the Philippines for a few months. We can go live in Thailand for a few months, or Singapore for a few months, or whatever. We don't need to go to a cheaper cost of living place because we're doing good. So that's why, you know. And we have real estate here. We have a life here. It's nice, you know. And it's, you know, I know like people get tied up into what's going on with the Capitol or politics or all this, you know, dumbass American politics or whatever. But when you just focus on what you can do and not worry about like all the other stuff going on, like this, what can you really do besides vote? What can you really do? What can you really do, right? Just think about it. You can go protest, okay. You can vote, okay. You can, but at the end of the day, what you can really control is your household. How much your budget is. You can start a business. You can influence your local community. You know, you can run for a local office. You could, you know. So we've 90% of our time has been focusing on stuff we can change, and we are active politically, but only as much as we can be. You know what I mean? To influence what we can do. And then that's it. Like 90% of our time is in this house, is fixing things we can fix and focusing on things we can fix. So that's kind of what we've been doing. And so the reason why we're retired in America or won't be retiring in the Philippines is because it's just a better life for us here, you know. So if that ever changes, then of course, you know, we'll have to change our long-term strategy. Let me see. Thank you for that question, by the way. Did y'all ever... Okay. Just reading through comments, so just bear with me here. Okay, let me see. And, okay, another question about... Did y'all ever clash about it, and did it take you time to adjust, or you cool about it from the beginning? Yeah, we did a bit clash about... How much was, like I said, like there was some discussions, yes. So to answer your question, there were times when there was too much sent. But I think really, to be honest with you, Yuri is so serious about this that she was the one was like, oh my God, like what are they doing over there? And why do I send so much we're now struggling. You know what I mean? So yeah, that and I was frustrated too. I'm like, damn, like now what? You know. So we did, but we got through it. And now it's like not even a thing anymore. We're on the same page. Let me see. Corey Gearhead High says, Bruce, hey Bruce, remember me? Hope all is well. Yeah, man, everything's good. I do remember you, man. Absolutely, I do. You've been with us for a long time too, man. Like all the way back to the visa approved group days. I remember you. We've had some many conversations, you and I. What have you guys been up to, and why did you decide? Okay, I already read that. Things are only bad if you make it that way, Bruce. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Like you have the power to, you don't have to be a victim. You know what I mean? Like, yes, there's victimhood. Yes, there are victims, but your response doesn't have to be as a victim. At some point we have to rise up. I'm talking about, you can put any kind of context or meaning on that you want, but as individuals is what I'm speaking of. At some point, we as a people, we as human beings have to rise up and take response and own the problem and change that's my mentality. Like, I have to own the problems, and then I have to fix what I can fix, and then everything else I can only worry about it so much. At the end of the day, there's nothing I can, I can't change how people feel about me as a black person. I can't change 400 years of American stupidity. I can't change. But what I can do is something now. I can be the best person I can be now. I can maybe change some people's perception of who Americans are. Maybe we can, as a people, move forward. I don't know. Maybe, I just focus on stuff I can change now. Let me see. My comments are coming. Yeah, I'm gonna keep reading through it. I'm getting some actual chats here, so I'm just reading through them. Let me see here. Okay. I'm gonna keep reading some of these main comments here. There's a couple that I really like that I really wanted to get to, but I think we already talked about about retirement in the Philippines. And somebody says, I can't wait to retire and move to the Philippines to live. Unfortunately, I've got 12 years to go until I will be able to travel there but will be able to travel there every year for vacation. That's cool. Love isn't in the Philippines. All right, here's something I could probably speak on. So somebody responded to a video Yuri and I did a long time ago that was called "Why Are Filipinos So Jealous?" That was a fun video. Really good one. Okay, this is a dissertation right here from Jamar Williamson. He says, I read on a post that this one's going to get racial, guys. Don't get triggered. Trigger warning in effect right here. If you don't want to talk about racial stuff, then you might want to remove yourself quickly. Too late. Okay. I read on a post by a white guy that some Filipinos only get with black men after sleeping around with many white men. I really hope this is not true. If this is true, why would I want to be with a woman who slept with many men? And the white guy said it's to support them and other family members or husband. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, so Jamar, here's what if you happen to see this. So you can't it's kind of like when other people see us and they assume all of us are from the hood. They assume all of us don't have fathers. They assume all of us have had they assume a lot of things about us as black people, right? And I don't know if this applies to you. I don't know if you're black, but I just want to give you some context. A lot of people assume this or that about your race. They assume because you're white, you're rich. They assume that because you're white, you You didn't grow up in a trailer. You grew up with a silver spoon in your mouth. They assume that you're racist. They assume that everybody has some assumptions about you. Well, it's the same thing about Filipinos, okay? Especially Filipinos. There's a stigma about Filipinos that some people have, right? Same thing. Every race has it. We put people in these little boxes. And this right here, this little comment here that you read about, that Filipinos only know. Okay, so first of all, yes, some people fit in some of these stereotypes. Just like me, there's some black folks I can tell you for real. Like me, I like chicken, I like hog maws, I like pig feet. I don't know if you got that reference, but yeah, there's some things are real. Like there's some things that are but this right here is just a stereotype. Like every person's different. Every Filipino you meet is going to be a different person. So some Filipinos exclusively date, most of them exclusively date handsome Asian guys, to be honest with you. I don't want a black guy or a white guy. To be perfectly honest with you, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the ones who are okay with a foreigner, they're going to have a preference. And some of them are going to have a preference for white dudes. Some of them are going to have a preference for just German dudes. Some are going to have a preference for black dudes. To assume this is just a stupid stereotype that Filipinos are going to slept around with white. No. So, I could tell you this. Let me just sum it up for you. What, and this is not just Filipinos. This is people in general, right? When a person, women in particular, when women are looking for a guy, they're looking for stability. All right, they're looking for a man who is stable, not just financially, but mentally stable, like mentally, especially mature women. Like I can't speak for younger women. They want they want 6-pack abs or something. But for the most part, if you're looking for a good woman, right? Some women, yeah, they are gold diggers, and that's all they want. They just want the money. They don't care if you're black, white, green, whatever. They just want that money. This is true, right? Some are like that. But if you're looking for a good woman, a good Filipina, she's going to be looking for a stable dude, like a dude who is mentally, emotionally stable, who can reasonably take care of themselves. Like, and think about this, like, is that fair? Like, I read, like, some of the MTOW red pill guys get pissed off about this, but I'm like, don't you have a preference? Like, as a man, do you want a woman who's never going to take care of you? Do you want a woman who's never going to have your back, who's never going to, like there's certain requirements that we have as human beings for a partner. So I can tell you, like, most women are looking for a stable guy, a good woman. Are there women like this guy's describing? I'm sure there are. But don't fall into these stereotypes, man. It's going to take time. If you're actually dating and you're looking around and stuff, just take your time to figure out who this person is that you're dating, and then understand their culture. If you're going outside your race, or you're going outside of your culture, you're going outside the United States, you need to take time to understand the person's point of view. And the way to do that is to understand their culture. Okay, that means taking the time to read about their history, taking the time to maybe learn a few words, polite words in Tagalog or in their native tongue. Take some time to learn who this person that you're trying to get serious with. Take some time to know who they are, and give it time to grow. Don't assume any kind of random post on the internet is true. Don't even take my word for it. Look, all I'm telling you to do is do your own research. That's what I'm trying to tell you to do. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. And somebody said culture is programming. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Culture is programming. Like, we have been, all of us, we're from an early age. Think about it. You grow up, you're taught a certain way to be embedded in that culture. You're immersed in this different culture, in this language. All those things teach you to learn and to behave and act and say and talk a certain way. And we're programmed, right? So that programming once you understand the programming language, which is their culture, you can, you can be a better steward to that relationship. You'll understand why certain behaviors are happening. And hopefully your partner is doing the same thing for you. They're learning your culture so that they know how to communicate with you better. So that's what I would say. Let me see here. Somebody said, Bruce, don't you remember me? Poker King. Maybe you came up in a different. You said, I'm half Hispanic and white, and I love all races to teach. And I love all races to teach their own. Got to give me more context on that one. Okay. Anyway, let me keep going here. I got some really good comments here. Sagas, look at that. Philippine Destiny, keep rocking, playa, will do. My wife is from Santo Domingo, and she has 3 kids. The children are 18, 20, and 27. I mean, they're kind of adults now. The first 2 now live in the States, but the other are in the DR for now. My wife is the best thing in the world. She cooks every day. She understands, and she understands. Okay, that's awesome, man. Good for you. You found a winner. Somebody said, my wife is Filipina. We've been married for 31 years. I brought my wife to the States in early part of our marriage. She got citizenship, and we both retired from our jobs to move back to the Philippines. Been here for 6 years, and it's a lot cheaper, but I would say everyone's case is different, and I'm glad my wife has dual citizenship. We are in the best of both worlds. It's important to ensure, first of all, that you have trust in your wife before you marry her. Really know that, and you know her. Yes, yeah, I agree with that. That's words of advice right there. Great words of advice. And then I got a bunch of happy birthdays. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. To be honest, I don't even remember Yuri posting this video. I didn't know that this was going to get posted, so I don't know how I feel about that. That was a very personal video. Like, I did not know she was going to post that, and now it's out there for all the world to see. I'm glad they cut the part of me crying out. I think they did. I have not watched it. It's so personal, I can't even rewatch it. I don't like putting stuff like this out there, but she did it, so I'm glad people liked it. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody. Lots of love on that video. Wow, I wasn't expecting that, guys. I appreciate all you guys. Wow. Because that was a very personal video. And I did not see that coming. They got me. They got me. All right. There's a couple things I want to talk about here, but let me see. 619 Poker King says, I'm gay. I'm the gay guy who was doing the long distance Pinoy guy. So we know a couple gay guys who are doing long distance Pinoy guys. So you got to be more specific. We are fully engaged with the LGBTQ community. So we know quite a few. I think I know who you're talking about. You must have changed your name because you used to appear on our lives a lot. But just so you know, we know there's more than one. Like, we know a few. So I don't even know which one you are. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's like saying I'm the guy with hair, you know. Anyway, let me see. Okay, here's a controversial one. Men love, because so Yuri and I did a video called Why men love a submissive woman. And it gets mixed reviews. Some people get really pissed off about it. Really pissed off about us using that word, those words. They get triggered, man. But somebody said, Marie 16, I think that's how you pronounce Mare 16. She says, men do love submissive women. It's not about race. I don't think that I don't recall us saying that was about race. Yuri and I basically, if I remember right, we were saying some of the guys who I meet, myself included, like prefer submissive women. And my argument is this. I know people are going to get mad about it or triggered or whatever, but here's the thing. Maybe submissive is not the right word. Dedicated. A person who's dedicated to the relationship. That's how I see it. And forget the word submissive. The reason why dedication is super important to the relationship, I mean, I think it would be obvious, but you're building something together, right? And how committed are you to this relationship, right? That's basically what we're trying to say. And I don't recall saying that only this or that race is submissive among women or whatever. I don't recall saying that. But what I just want to sum up what I mean by why guys prefer, many, not all, a submissive woman. It has to do with dedication. It's not, and the thing is, both parties should have some level of dedication to the relationship, submitting to the relationship. That's what we were talking about, and that's what I mean. And it has nothing to do with what race you are. It does have something to do with your cultural upbringing, I would say, because we're taught to behave a certain way. And dedication to the relationship is super important. And the more dedicated you can be to your relationship, the more successful it can be. Because, both people have to have a certain level of submission to the relationship itself, more dedication to the relationship in order for it to work and grow and flourish. So, okay, here's the one that I really liked. This comment right here. Somebody said, Canaanite Ghana says, "Hey, boss man Bruce, just wanted to let you know I am going into cryptocurrency. I got into cryptocurrency because of you, and I made a killing. I bought 60,000 Theta tokens for 0.008% and sold it at $2.32. I owe you, man. Bruce, 2 years ago, New Year's, you guys did a video. Yeah. Yes, this is a very powerful message right here. Because if you ever watch this, Kanan, and anybody else who's gotten into crypto, and this is not for everyone. So first of all, I want to just give a little caveat. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not about to give you any financial advice. And if you want to know much, much more about what we do financially, go to our other channel called Get Money or Get Out. But I just want to talk about this a little bit because this was done on the Yuribruce channel. And I'll probably put this snippet on Get Money, Get Out. But so those many years ago when we bought cryptocurrency, it changed our life. It changed our life. Like, our life took a turn for the better. And it's because cryptocurrency is a new asset class. What I mean by that is, right now, you've got stocks, you've got real estate, you've got IRAs, you got 401ks, you got all these other vehicles, financial vehicles where you can put your money. And that money is supposed to go up in value, or retain your current wealth and all that kind of stuff. But these are very old vehicles for money. They're very old, like, real estate and stocks have been around for hundreds, thousands of years, maybe, I don't know, hundreds of years at least. But the thing is, there's kind of it's kind of hard to get into them sometimes, right? Or people think they're hard to get. They're not. But there's a stigma that's been put into place about getting into stocks and getting into real estate. And you shouldn't be intimidated by it. Every person who listens to me should get into it. Not a financial advice. Don't listen to any damn thing I say. I'm not a financial advisor. Just so you know. But I think everyone should get into it. Because basically it's another way to retain your wealth, especially while the value of the dollar is very quickly declining based off of centralized governments all over the world spending like crazy, and also oligarchs. I know it's to sound like conspiracy theory stuff. I'm not a conspiracy theory. I don't believe in none of it, but I'm just telling you that the value of the dollar is definitely declining. Okay, that's a fact. That is a fact. Okay, now we can argue about why that's happening or whatever, but it's definitely happening. That means that whatever you have in the bank that's in dollars or in pesos or in dinero or whatever money you have that's a fiat currency controlled by a government, it's going down. It's going down. With the exception of some developing countries that were already rock bottom, some of those are going up a little bit, right? But what does up mean if you started off at 50 cents and it goes up 100%? That's great, but what I'm trying to say is fiat currency has a major weakness and a flaw, and that flaw is centralized governments. And cryptocurrency is a new asset class that allows you, a normal person, to put a little bit of money in. It's volatile, okay? You could put some money in right now. It can go down to zero, okay? Just so you know, it's not for weak hands. That means like it's not for people who can't lose $20. It's not for you. If you can't lose $20, then don't do it. But if you have a little bit of money and you're like, you know what, I don't really want this latte. I'm gonna take this $15 and I'm gonna put it on, put it on some cryptocurrency and just see what it does. Just check it out for yourself. And so years ago we started doing that, and it changed our life. It allowed us to buy properties. It allowed us to retain our money, retain what we've built over time, and just have all these pots of money here and there, and it's been a huge help for us. So, man, I'm really blessed. I'm blessed that I have a spouse who is on the same page as me, who's willing to take a risk with me, who's willing to listen to my crazy ass ideas, and just really lucky, and I'm really happy that we've been able to make these amazing moves. And then there was this dude. I've met some awesome people here, because I wouldn't have done cryptocurrency if I hadn't met this couple named Lou and Toya. And they contacted us because of this channel right here. And Lou started telling me all this stuff that he's doing with cryptocurrency, and I got excited and I started looking into it myself, right? At first I was like, what? But I looked into it myself and I was like, I remember this. Being in IT for a long time, I actually heard about Bitcoin a long time ago, and I tried it. I might even have some Bitcoin tucked away on a hard drive, because I remember trying it when it came out. So that's going to be a whole different video, by the way, if I can find that cryptocurrency, because I used to mine it like way back, like when it first came out. I was messing with it, and he started telling me about it. I was like, Bitcoin. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. And I started doing my own research about it, and then I started getting involved with it. So Lou and Toya, man, I just like this guy right here is thanking me for getting him involved with it. Lou and Toya. If they ever watch this, wow, I don't know where they are now. I mean, see them every now and then on Instagram. They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. I see them every now and then. Toya, I think, is still like a model or something. But they got me into it. And so I owe them, just like this guy says he owes me. Life changer. So I would say to you guys, Do your own damn thing. Do your own research. Don't listen to anything I say. But you should definitely try it. All right. Okay, that's enough of that lovey-dovey stuff. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of other... Whoa, what in the hell is going on with this? Whoa, that's... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read a few more comments. I got a few comments in the chat here. People are saying... the gay guy who had a long distance relationship with Pinoy guy. Yeah, I know a few guys. And you changed your name. Okay. Seems he was just wanting packet change, but it's not worth the time if he isn't serious. And then you're saying he does work, but it's so sad. I heard that they make $3 an hour in the Philippines. Yeah, Philippines is different, and that's not even the sad part. The $3 an hour is not even the sad part. The sad part is the cost of living in the Philippines is really, really high for the average Filipino. That's the sad part. You hear, $3, that doesn't sound like much to you, but the real problem is that if bread costs 50 cents there, it's way too much. You know what I mean? Like 50 cents to you and I is nothing, but in the Philippines, their cost of living for food, for housing, for taxes, to leave the country, to come into the country, all the fees and everything, the cost of living for the average Filipino, for what they make, the average person makes, is super high. And me understanding the culture of the Philippines and what's going on, the economics, what's going on in the Philippines, visiting the Philippines and understanding, like seeing what's going on really there, helped me to understand why, like I don't get mad when Yuri was trying to help family out, because I know it's hard there. Like as hard as it is for us when our iPhone breaks, it's way harder for them when they can't eat. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it's a different... We got first world problems here. Don't get me wrong. Like, we got unarmed black men getting shot in the back. We got, certain members of our society are more privileged than others. We got people trying to take over the government. And don't get me wrong. Like, that stuff is real. But I'm saying, they have worse problems there. I'm just keeping it 100% real with you. Their problems are way worse than anything we got going on here, right? So, Mr. Mike T. Man says, yes, Bruce, the crypto was a big life changer for me also. Wow. Yeah, man, it back to crypto again. Like, I don't know if I'm going to keep this on this site, but I just want to say, man, it really changed our life financially. It gave me a whole different perspective on what is possible. And the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency is that started in the United States. I don't know if you like, here's the beautiful thing about the US. Here's why I like the US. I know we have problems, but let me just tell you like what I love about it. For all the racial disparities, for all the BS with the politics, and that stuff's been happening for years, by the way. None of this is new. Yes, maybe a Confederate flag inside of the Senate floors, that's probably new. But the racial stuff and stealing, all the stuff that's going on, and that stuff is not new. Like, just look at American history, man. It's been happening for a long time. Like, there was one insurrection that did happen in North Carolina. That's tragic, man. Reading that just makes you so mad. That same thing happened, like, except they killed everybody there because there were people of mixed race who were in government. Look it up. It's not conspiracy theory. Check it out for yourself. This is not new, okay? But what is new, what's amazing about the United States is the innovations that happen here. Okay? So first of all, the internet itself started in the US. The internet, like what we're using to communicate on right now, was created in the US. Bitcoin was created by some anonymous person on the internet and was helped by some Americans. I don't know if Satoshi Nakamoto was American, but many of the cypherpunks who helped create it and continued to development and helped it grow and seeded it, all that stuff happened in the U.S. That happened in New York. It happened in some of the major cities. These different developers came together and kept working on it. The cypherpunks were many of them were Americans, not all. But yeah, I mean, there's so many innovations that happen here, and it's because the nature of the U.S. is to think freely and to share ideas freely. That a lot of countries don't have this, And I know, somebody's gonna, well, what about Parler? What about them taking down conservatives who are talking on the internet? You can't incite violence. I mean, you can't run into. Yes, you have freedom of speech, but if you run into a movie house and say fire, is that freedom of speech? You can't run into a bank and say, I'm gonna kill everybody here, I've got a gun. Like, is that freedom of speech? So I'm just saying, like, the freedom that we do have here to innovate is something very special. The fact that Tesla was created here, SpaceX was created here, the fact that so many innovations, YouTube, and all that stuff was happened is because we're a bunch of different people who all came together and are sharing ideas. Hip hop started here. R&B started here. Jazz started here. Blues started here. Punk rock and rock and roll started in the United States. Do you think that any of that do you think that's a coincidence? It's because we are free thinkers. All of us come together. We share ideas. It's encouraged to think freely. And I mean, that's just my 2 cents. So that's one of the things I really like about the U.S. For all the problems, there's a lot of great things that happen here. And it's because it's a great experience. It's a great experiment where people from all parts of the world come together. All races, all cultures, all nationalities come together and share ideas freely. You don't have this level of innovation. Well, now you do, but we have a really long run of doing this. And there's something special about it, I think. And I like it. I like being a part of it. So that's, it's another reason why I'm optimistic. Maybe I'm being naive, but I'm pretty optimistic about my life, my kids' life, and about the direction that we could go as a people here. We could do good. It's up to us. And I think, honestly, the only people who can take us down, the U.S. down, this mindset, is us. And I think for me, the U.S. is not just a nation. It's not just that flag, in my mind. It's innovation. To me, that's what it means. It's for me, it's not just about, the slavery that happened or decimating the Indian population or what the government has done and all that kind of garbage and how they treat LGBTQ. Yeah, that stuff's bad. I mean, I'm not trying to be an apologist for any of those evil things that have happened or continue to happen. But what I'm saying is that there's an innovative spirit here that we are all a part of. And I don't think that should be ignored. To me, that's what America is. America is an experiment where all of us humans came together and we're trying to make it work. And it doesn't always work, There's definitely some times when we're falling down and it might not work. It's an experiment. Experiments don't always work. Don't always work out. But that's my 2 cents on it. That's what I like about it. Let me see. I feel bad when, okay. Let me see. It's back up here. Yes, an extra $20 a month is a lot of money in Philippines. Yes, it is. Poker King says, I feel bad when I spend 120 on poker tournaments. You should feel bad about that. No, I'm joking. I spend $120 on poker tournaments, but I sometimes send him $20 $20. Yeah, I mean, so, that's why I personally don't feel bad, because $20, like, when a person can, when you see those little kids, like, what got me was seeing those little kids on the street. I will never in my life forget that. We don't really have that here. I mean, yeah, you see people on the streets or in shelters and stuff like that, and it's bad. We're having hard times, and I think that the U.S. should definitely take care of itself better, especially our own people. That would be great. But the poverty in the Philippines is so much worse, man. So much worse. NC Big says, Bruce, I need the link to your other channel. Oh, if you want a link to our other channels, goes for anybody watching me right now. Go to the main page of YouTube. If you're not our main page of YouTube, go to the main page of our Yuribruce channel, and you'll see on there, if you go to channels, you'll see our other channels listed there. So our other channels are visa approved. If you're still going through the K1 visa or green card process, we talk about that stuff there. Or if you're going through citizenship, that's where we put all that stuff. And then the other one is called Get Money or Get Out. And actually, one of you guys came up with that name, Get Money or Get Out, because we would talk about money on here a lot and people get mad. And we were like, and then somebody said, Get Money or Get Out. Like, don't talk to us if it's not about money. But then we just realized, there's a whole other community here where we talk more about relationships and cultural differences and, that kind of stuff, where all the other stuff that we normally Yuri and I mostly talk about. We don't talk about race. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about, we talk about money the most. Making money, getting money. That's what we talk about the most. Like, and so then we were like, man, we should probably make a channel about this and helping people. And then, like, thing is, it's not just us helping people. Sometimes there's been many occasions where people have helped us. Like, mostly it's us getting helped by people, to be honest with you. Not just monetarily, not just like people giving us super chats or Patreon or, buying our products or services or nothing like that, but advice. People have given us advice. Like I said, Lou and Toya got me into cryptocurrency, and that made me thousands of dollars and gave us all the stability. Were there mistakes? Yes, there were, but that's part of learning. And then who else? We had one of our friends, a Filipina who's wealthy, a wealthy Filipina who we love, who we've met in person, who's invited us to her house, who is a mentor to us, but she's also helped us out, like, with advice on what to do and what things to do. And that's why Yuri currently has her job, because this Filipina reached out to us when we were talking about money and gave us some really good advice. And now she's in another state right now doing that job. Who else has helped us? Books, like one of our subscribers who watched us because we would talk about the relationship between Americans and Filipinos, reached out to us. This couple that's been married for 30 years, American and a Filipina, and they start mentoring us. They start giving us really good advice. Turns out this dude's been in business for 20 some odd years, and he writes books and stuff. And he was just talking to him. Like, sometimes, how you can just talk to somebody and just their perspective alone is enough to change your life. I've met several people like that from this channel, from YouTube, and that right there is worth a lot, man. Because that's helping not just me, not just Yuri, but my kids Yuri's family, my family. Sometimes you don't know the impact you make on people. And so some of the people that I've talked to, their perspective alone was enough to change our life. Another guy's Markel TV, who just did a super chat on here. Markel TV, I was going through stuff with the VA, with the Veteran Affairs Office, and it turns out he's an expert on that. And he started giving me advice on what I should do, and I listened to him. And there's a couple other old vets that I talked to who told me, similar advice, and I listened to them. And that's really helped me and my whole family out, So Get Money, Get Out came from those conversations. So go ahead and check it out if you guys aren't already signed up. If you happen to be into business, if you don't like money, don't waste your time with this nonsense. But if you are into money and you are trying to get out of the rat race and you're trying to level up, yeah, go check it out, because that's where we talk about that kind of stuff. I don't mean to bore you with these money issues, these petty money issues. Let's move on to other things. Let me see. Poker King says they do bad things, then brag on the internet, then get caught and cry me a river. Who you talk? Oh yeah, you talk. Okay, I don't want to talk about this, man. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, Mr. Mike T Man just posted our links. Thank you, sir. I don't have access, otherwise I would have done the same thing. But Mr. Mike T Man, thank you, sir, for those posting those links. Appreciate you. Hey, Big Truck Series, how you doing, man? I was just talking mad shit about you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate everybody. Like I said, sometimes your perspective, has changed our life on many things, and that's why I really appreciate this community. Has changed my life and my family's life, and just people being themselves and being good people, has been a life changer. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your who you are as a person and being real, saying your real thoughts. And we don't always have to agree on things, but that's not what this is about. This is about learning and listening to another person's perspective. And sometimes that, even though it's not about agreeing, sometimes it's about seeing from their perspective that gives you something even more valuable than agreeing. Because sometimes, like years down the road, you see that person was right, or they were wrong. They were so unbelievably wrong that you understand because they were wrong. So it's not always about being right. To be honest with you. All right, guys, I think that is it. This has been a great conversation. I appreciate everybody, and I am out of here. I'll talk to you guys another time.